Every morning, I wake up to the sound of my alarm clock buzzing like an angry bee. It's always the same time, 5 o'clock sharp. The room is still dark, but I don't mind. I've been doing this for so long that my body knows what it needs to do even before my brain fully wakes up. My name is Jack, and I'm a carpenter. Some people might think my job is simple or boring, but let me tell you, it's anything but. I live in a small town surrounded by forests and hills. The air smells fresh, especially early in the morning when the dew clings to everything. There's something peaceful about it, like the world hasn't quite woken up yet. After getting dressed in my usual work clothes, a pair of sturdy jeans, a flannel shirt, and boots, I head downstairs to make coffee. Coffee is important. Without it, I'd probably fall asleep standing up while trying to measure a piece of wood. Once I've had my first cup, I grab my toolbox from the corner of the kitchen. It's old and scratched, but it holds all the tools I need: hammers, chisels, screwdrivers, and more. They're not just tools, they're extensions of me. Each one has its own story, too, like the hammer with the worn handle that belonged to my dad. He taught me how to swing it properly when I was just a kid. Those lessons stuck with me, and now here I am, making a living out of shaping wood into something useful, or sometimes beautiful. Today was supposed to be a normal day, but little did I know it would turn out to be anything but ordinary. A few days ago, I got a call from Mrs. Thompson, who lives at the edge of town. She wanted me to fix her front porch. Apparently, it had started creaking badly, and she was worried it might collapse under someone's weight. "Can you come tomorrow?" she asked nervously over the phone. Of course, I said yes. Fixing things is what I do best. The drive to her house wasn't long, maybe 10 minutes. Her place was charming, with white shutters and flower boxes hanging below the windows. But as soon as I stepped onto the porch, I could see why she was concerned. The boards were warped and splintered, and some nails were sticking out like sore thumbs. This wasn't going to be a quick fix, it needed a full replacement. Mrs. Thompson greeted me warmly, offering me a glass of lemonade. "Thank you," I said, accepting it gratefully. "I'll get started right away." She nodded and went back inside, leaving me alone with my work. That's another thing I love about being a carpenter, the solitude. Sure, there are times when clients hover nearby, asking questions or giving suggestions, but most of the time, it's just me and the wood. It's almost meditative. As I began prying off the old boards, I couldn't help but notice how much effort must have gone into building this porch originally. Whoever did it clearly cared about their craft. Still, years of weather and wear had taken their toll. By noon, I had removed all the damaged pieces and was ready to start installing new ones. I reached into my truck for the fresh planks of cedar I'd picked up earlier. Cedar is great because it's durable and smells amazing. As I laid each board down, securing it with fresh nails, I felt a sense of satisfaction. Slowly but surely, the porch was coming back to life. But then, something strange happened. While drilling a hole near the corner of the porch, my drill hit something hard, not wood, not metal, but something else entirely. Curious, I knelt down to investigate. Using a pry bar, I managed to loosen the object and pull it free. It was a small wooden box, no bigger than a shoebox, covered in dirt and dust. My heart skipped a beat. What on earth was this doing buried beneath the porch? Carefully, I opened the lid. Inside was a collection of old letters tied together with a faded ribbon. On top of them sat a delicate silver locket. For a moment, I forgot where I was. Who had hidden these items here? And why? Part of me wanted to read the letters immediately, but I knew better. These weren't mine to look at. Instead, I placed the box aside and continued working, though my mind kept wandering back to it. By late afternoon, the porch was finished. It looked sturdy and inviting, ready to welcome visitors once again. Pleased with my work, I knocked on Mrs. Thompson's door to let her know I was done. When she came outside, her eyes widened in surprise. "Oh, Jack, it looks wonderful," she exclaimed. Then, hesitating slightly, she added, "Did you find anything unusual while you were working?" Her question caught me off guard. "Actually, yes," I admitted, holding up the wooden box. "This was buried under the porch. Do you know anything about it?" She stared at the box for a long moment, her expression unreadable. Finally, she sighed and gestured for me to follow her inside. We sat down at her kitchen table, and she poured us both cups of tea. "That box, it belonged to my grandmother," she explained softly. "She lived in this house many years ago. From what I understand, she used to hide things she didn't want anyone else to find. Letters, jewelry, keepsakes. I never knew exactly where she hid them, though." "So, you didn't bury this?" I asked, feeling a mix of curiosity and guilt for disturbing something so personal. "No, I didn't," she replied. "But I'm glad you found it. Maybe now I can learn more about her." She smiled faintly, though there was sadness in her eyes. "Would you mind if I kept it?" "Of course not," I said quickly. "It belongs to you." Handing her the box, I felt a strange sense of relief. Whatever secrets lay inside, they weren't mine to uncover. On the drive home, I thought about the box and the stories it might contain. People often say that houses hold memories, but I'd never really believed it until today. Every nail, every plank of wood, it all tells a story if you listen closely enough. And maybe that's why I love being a carpenter. It's not just about fixing things, it's about connecting with the past and leaving something behind for the future. When I got home, I decided to take a walk through the woods behind my house. Sometimes, after a long day of work, it helps clear my head. The sun was setting, casting golden light through the trees. I breathed in the crisp evening air, feeling grateful for the simple joys in life, good coffee, honest work, and the occasional mystery that reminds us we're part of something bigger. Back at my house, I made myself dinner and settled into my favorite chair with a book. Tomorrow would bring another project, another chance to create something lasting. But for now, I was content to sit quietly, letting the events of the day sink in. Being a carpenter isn't just about building things, it's about understanding the world around you, one piece of wood at a time. And honestly, I wouldn't trade it for anything.